3, 2, 1.
What's up, everyone? Todd Brown, That Racing Show. Now, Kyle Busch is a name that's known by race fans around the world. But there's a story that many race fans have probably never heard of, and many others have probably forgotten about. This was an ill-fated day in November of 2003 at Homestead Speedway, where Kyle Busch was set to make his Winston Cup career debut for Hendrick Motorsports. That was until.
Since his arrival into NASCAR, he's turned heads, created excitement, and proven to be a record breaker. Beginning his NASCAR career at the age of 16 driving for legendary car owner Jack Roush, Kyle Busch was destined for greatness. As a teenager, he first gave a glimpse of what was yet to come, getting behind the wheel in the NASCAR Truck Series. But we will talk more about some of the epic firsts of Kyle Busch shortly. Right now, we want to focus on a first many have forgotten about and most likely many never knew about. This was the very first entry into the Cup Series for Kyle in 2003. That's right, 2003. Originally, he planned to sign with Roush Racing in May and compete in NASCAR's Truck Series full-time. Roush fielded cars for Kyle's then 24-year-old brother Kurt, and had Kyle under contract until it was voided in 2001 when NASCAR passed an age requirement of 18 for its top 3 series. As a 16-year-old, Kyle Busch earned 2 top 10 finishes in 6 truck races for Roush before NASCAR mandated its age restrictions. In 2002, he finished 8th in the American Speed Association Championship points as a rookie in a car Roush helped fund. But then in a surprise turn of events, driver Kyle Busch signed a contract with Hendrick Motorsports. Just 24 hours after deciding not to join his older brother at Roush Racing, Busch was scheduled to race in at least 7 NASCAR Busch Series events for Hendrick that season, after he turned 18 on May 2nd and compete full-time in 2004. Kyle Busch had graduated with honors from his Las Vegas high school a year early so he could focus on racing. Kyle went on to say, quote, "I feel lucky to have this opportunity with an organization like Hendrick Motorsports. We'll ease into it this year with some select races and go full steam next season. As a young driver, it's just a great environment for me to develop." Hendrick, at the time, was fielding cars for Winston Cup champions Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte, also Jimmy Johnson and Joe Nemechek. Kyle Busch was also scheduled to run in select ARCA races his first season and team with the 19-year-old Brian Vickers and Hendrick cars in the Busch Series, making them the youngest tandem in NASCAR. Rick Hendrick went on to say, quote, "Kyle is one of the best young racers I've ever been around, and it's certainly exciting to have him on board. To say he has a bright future would be an understatement." Interestingly, the pairing of Brian Vickers and Kyle Busch would not only be in the Busch Series, but also the Winston Cup Series. Well, I should say, sort of. This is where our story gets interesting. In 2002, Gene Haas formed the NASCAR race team Haas CNC Racing. After purchasing the NASCAR truck racing facility from Hendrick Motorsports, Haas CNC Racing began work on its first entry in the Winston Cup Series as a single-car team. Running the number 60 with driver Jack Sprague, the team raced only 3 times in 2002. By 2003, the team was running full-time and had switched to the number 0. In 2003, the number 60 moved over to Hendrick Motorsports with sponsorship from Haas for select races. 2 races with driver David Green at the wheel before Brian Vickers took over the 60 car on October 11th at Charlotte Motor Speedway for 1 race. Vickers would then take over the number 25 car for Hendrick Motorsports for the final races of the 2003 season in the Winston Cup Series. So what does all this have to do with Kyle Busch? Well, let's dive into that. At the final race of the 2003 Winston Cup schedule, Kyle Busch was tapped to get behind the wheel of the Hendrick Motorsports number 60 to make his first start in Cup at Homestead Speedway. Except this time, the car would not be adorned with the Haas logo, but rather Dytek, who was a sponsor for Busch in the ARCA and Busch Series starts. In Kyle Busch's 7 Busch Series starts for 2003, he had accumulated 3 top 10s with 2 of those being top 5s. The ARCA Series saw Kyle Busch make 7 starts with 2 wins for the season. With Brian Vickers already transferring over to the number 25 Cup ride and also winning the Busch Series championship for 2003, it seemed like the logical next step to gain Kyle Busch valuable seat time in Cup. Many eyes were on Kyle Busch to see what he could accomplish in his inaugural start in NASCAR's highest series. But as the beginning of the event was drawing near, everything went wrong for the Hendrick Motorsports number 60. In pre-race inspection Thursday prior to Homestead Miami Speedway's Ford 400, NASCAR took away Kyle Busch's number 60 Chevrolet when the car's body dimensions did not meet NASCAR specifications, according to Winston Cup director John Darby. A statement from NASCAR said, "The discrepancy to the car was sizable enough that it could not be repaired at the racetrack in a timely and effective manner, necessitating that it be confiscated." Hendrick Motorsports spokesperson Chris Haight explained, "The improper dimension was the same X measurement that Tony Stewart's Chevrolet failed earlier that season at Texas Motor Speedway when his car was also confiscated. The measurement is done from the base of the car's back window, diagonally to the back corner of the rear fender." Hendrick Motorsports only brought one car for Busch and decided the effort to switch decals, seats, and all the ancillary equipment necessary from another of Hendrick Motorsports' backup cars was not warranted simply to give Kyle Busch some seat time. This sadly brought a close to the opportunity for Kyle Busch to go down in the record books as racing at what was then known as the Winston Cup Series. As 2003 was the final year Winston sponsored NASCAR's Top Series and was replaced by Nextel in 2004. This was also the end of a number 60 car entering the NASCAR Cup Series for Hendrick Motorsports. But as we all know, this was not the end of Kyle Busch's NASCAR Cup career. In 2004, Busch returned to the Cup Series, making his first start at Las Vegas Motor Speedway in the Hendrick Motorsports number 84 with CarQuest as a sponsor. This was also Kyle's first time back to his home track of Las Vegas to compete since his 2001 race in the Truck Series. Kyle would go on to make 6 starts in the Cup Series for 2004, having an unfortunate 4 DNFs. In October 2004, it was announced that Busch would be competing full-time in the Nextel Cup Series for Hendrick Motorsports starting in 2005, replacing Terry Labonte in the number 5 Chevrolet. Kyle would go on to win 2 races in his first full season. He would go on to compete for 3 seasons with Hendrick Motorsports, winning a total of 4 races before moving to Joe Gibbs Racing in 2008. As they say from there, the rest is history. Busch currently has 63 NASCAR Cup Series wins and holds the all-time wins record in the Xfinity Series with 102 and Truck Series with 64. He is only the 3rd driver in NASCAR history to win at least 100 races in a single series. An impressive NASCAR Cup career that in November of 2003 at Homestead had to wait another year. But Homestead Speedway ended up giving back, seeing Kyle Busch hoist the 2015 and 2019 NASCAR Championship trophies.
There is no doubting that Kyle Busch will go down in the NASCAR books as one of the greatest drivers in history. Whether you love him or you hate him, there's no denying his accomplishments and his pure driven talent behind the wheel. I hope some of you have learned something new today, and for others, it triggered an old racing memory, especially about the old Winston Cup days. I hope everybody out there is having a great week. If you like what we're doing here, please consider hitting the subscribe button and give us a like. And as always, we'll see you at the checkered flag.